the guy's got, oh, them's fire ants, a few acres of property that desperately needs brush hogged. I'm talking bad. So we're gonna do the right thing and try to get this abandoned 1950 Ford 8N tractor running and operating once again. And as a bonus, it's already hooked to a Woods brush hog that came with the tractor purchase. So let's see if we can get this thing operating, running, and then we're gonna put it immediately to work, try to get all of this cleaned up. Well, as much as we can anyway. Let's dig in. Now, I don't know exactly how many years this tractor's been sitting here, but I could tell you a long, long time. I've driven by this for years and haven't seen it move. And the rear tires are dug into the ground. We've got varmints back here digging up over the Woods brush hog. It's been a long time. But these are really stout, reliable tractors. That was Henry Ford's vision with the 8N, 2N, and 9N, was just something simple that farmers can work on and, well, pass the torch from the horse to the machine, basically. Now, one thing I could tell you is I'm allergic to that. This, that, definitely that, and that, and mostly that area. So I think I'm gonna start by firing up the weed whacker, get in here and clean some of this up so a guy, you know, can we get some room around here to work and whatnot? Oh, we got belts showing out this tire. Noted. We'll pretend we didn't see that. I'm gonna swath an area and then we're just gonna start digging in. Spark, fuel, compression, boom. I don't know anything about the Woods mower. We're probably just gonna jam the PTO on and hope it works. If it doesn't, we'll just have to accessorize that at that point. But I have got to get after this. I've got weeds 4 feet tall out here, maybe higher. We want to turn this into a hay field, and it's going to take quite a bit of work to reclaim this area. We're just going to have to trim it down and see what we got. We might burn it off yet. I haven't decided. Anyway, let me grab the weed whacker. Yeah. I apologize now. Guy's gonna be sniffing. There's gonna be stuff running out of my face. Don't worry, it's normal. Juicy devils. It's in my teeth. I don't really know if that was necessary, but I don't know. Felt right. Well, this is a lot better. A lot more room for activities and whatnots. Copperhead season. We got a lot of water down here too. Guy's got to keep his head, you know, on a swivel, whatnot. Some of you are wondering, well, how do I know this is an 8N? Well, you can tell because of the way that it is. And also there are some specific things that I'm going to show you, but it can get a little confusing between the 9N, the 2N, and the 8N. But I'll show you some very obvious, you know, flags that we got an 8 in here. For me, a couple of the easier things is the wheels. Notice how the bolts are right on the hub. Same here in the back, where you know, like a 2N or a 9N is going to have more of a dinner plate and then bolted up there. And then the most obvious for me is the running boards, because the other ones just had like motorcycle pegs. So these are the anti-lag ripper offers, which is actually really handy. And then we're also going to have the 4-speed on this versus the 3-speed. So that was a nice 8N feature that kind of shifts. It's pretty neat. This has the Sherman high-low, which is really, really cool and actually sought after for, you know, things like brush hogging, finish cut mowing, pulling a hay rake, even a sickle mower, to give you some options to get the optimal PTO speed and travel speed. So you can underdrive, overdrive, or if we pull this out, you can run the straight gears, the 4-speed there. So you got lots of different options, which is pretty cool. This also has a side mount distributor, Latin and whirler over here, which makes it a lot easier to work on than its counterparts. This looks like it's been tinkered with. I see a lot of Walmart fittings, wiring hanging around. We've got a 12-volt conversion, I would assume, with some melted wires. Looks like that alternator might be running away on us. It is a wiring nightmare, basically. So that's fine. Still have the, must not be hooked up, original start button. A lot of times that goes away. Fuel tank. This tire here is all the way in the dirt. That's an old co-op tire. We'll try to see. That might still have air in it. It's just sunk. This one is looking pretty rough. But I do have another set of great end tires with motorcycle, or wheels with motorcycle tires mounted. If these aren't going to hold air, don't work for us. If we get it running today, that looks pretty good. I must have worked on this at some point, just forgot about it. You know, it's been cobbled. This is just basic farm ranch stuff. Nothing has to be perfect. It just needs to work. Of course, you got the Ferguson 3-point back here. I'm not sure if that's a breakaway coupler adapter or not. And that's fairly important when you're running a brush hog of this size. So the PTO on this, the power takeoff, is actually run by the transmission. So you can have the PTO on, but it doesn't engage until you let the clutch out, and that's when you start turning your implement or equipment. Well, the issue with that, well, some would say issue, a lot say it's not an issue because that's just the way it's been for 70 years, but you push the clutch in and try to stop, the machine needs to wind down and is actually going to drive your tractor until all of that motion slows. So an example, we get this mower whipping at 540 and we push the clutch in and hit the brake, it's going to push the tractor until the blade stops swinging. Now they make a clutch or a breakaway PTO for that, so it'll actually knock loose and let you stop the machine. Now I've run these for years, since I was a kid, and just gotten used to it. You know, you got to pick your point to stop. You just have to be overly cautious. You have to either stop uphill or on flat ground. You never want to back in towards water or something like that where you need to stop quickly with the blades swinging. So you just have to kind of be cognizant. Sorry about that. Anyway, let's keep looking over this machine. So this is pretty neat. So I don't know what kind of equipment he was driving around with this, but that's just an easier way to push stuff around. Of course, these have adjustable fronts. So if you want a wider tire pattern, you can do that just by undoing that bolt and this bolt and sliding this out. This is an old row crop tractor, believe it or not. That's why they did that. Here's your PTO right there. The Woods mower, I don't know. I don't know. I'm assuming it works. It's under the earth over here. Hopefully everything works and we can get it out of here. We got some badger holes, I think. It's been backed into a lot of stuff. But man, this Woods mower alone, these are pretty good units. Not gonna lie. I'm assuming, yeah, I think at one point the mower was covered, suggesting they at least knew that this was worth more than the tractor, which is the unfortunate truth. This has braces, swing braces. So this goes down to there on the axle. And normally people just run chains, but this is a stouter way to do it. And what it does is it keeps this mower from swinging violently back and forth and preventing the drawbars from getting caught in the tires or anything like that. Also gives you a more straighter pattern. It keeps this thing fairly locked in. So it's been, you know, set up pretty decently. Got some rebar fabrication over here. That's approved. Another indication I worked on it. We've got an original fender and a non-original fender. This one has the script. This one doesn't. So this would be a repop fender. They should both be the same, of course, obviously. But it seems to be all here. Air filter's all there. Fuel make it happen or minus a clamp. We're missing the cable that actually runs this guy right here, which was an 8N feature. 3,400 hours before that cable was taken away, but this would normally show you your RPM for the PTO and other gizmagoos and whatnots. That's gone, but we'll figure it out. You can hear, you guys know what I'm talking about. If you do any of this stuff, you can hear the right hum or vibration when you got the PTO dialed on that thing. Rad's still in it. I can see we still got a fan. I mean, it looks like this thing was backed into place, I don't know how many years ago, shut down and walked away from. Hello? Hello? Well, need some ice cube juice for the water heater there. Well, let's tear in. Gotta be honest, I didn't even bring a battery with me. I got a jump box. I'm hoping this one will come back around. So let's hook the battery back up. It is disconnected, which is another good sign that it could have run. Someone jumped off it, unhooked the battery and said, I'll be back. Except they never showed up, you know. So that's a wire, not a weed. Let's hook the jump box up and see if I can rightfully find neutral. And we'll bump the starter button, see if the starter button works, see if the starter works, and also see if this engine rotates. All the sparkulators are in it, so it shouldn't be full of water. And if it rotates, then we'll figure out spark and then fuel. I'm sure this is, yeah, she's bone dry. Whatever was in there evaporated. We got Kincaidus coming. I can feel it in my knees. It's gonna be bad. Well, the old jump and carry 9000. If this thing could talk, it would say, why? Why do you need another tractor, Derek? But thankfully it doesn't. Okay, we got a, what is this? Battery. EconoStar. What's the year on it? We have a year? Nope, long gone. I would say easily 5 years. Just based on experiences. It's gonna be hot. That's snagged into the frame, right? Yeah, okay. So, let's go here. Yeah. Hip. Ah, hip. Run this down here. Can a guy get his arm in here for Pete's sake? My hands is getting harder and harder to even open. We got a weird relay in here. That scares me. Okay. I don't see anything smoking. Oh, there's some gel in the fuel bowl. That's, I'm gonna dump this out because I don't want to suck that through the fuel, make it happen there. Oh man, it's been here long enough. It pulled the gasket and the screen with the bowl, which is not good. That's undoubtedly going to leak now. We'll just leave this off for now. Come back to it. Think I'm in neutral. One of the things you never want to do is try to start a tractor in front of the rear tire. Let's see if it turns over. Something snapped. It turned. Nice. Oh yeah. Ooh, the positive cable, not the sad one, is really smoking. Our ground must not be that good. Let's see if the oil pressure gauge works. I got 0. Let's see if it's even hooked up. Wow. Can a guy even see something? Oh yeah. Oh, that's the choke. Boy, it's hooked up. It's saying no oil pieces. Should we maybe check it? It's got stuff in it. Whew. Wow. That's old. I don't smell any gas though, which is good. But it's got oil. It just, let's try it again. It's possible the gauge is bad. It's plausible the gauge is bad. I don't know, let's just say the gauge is bad. So now, it cranks fine, starter works, the starter button works, which is pretty cool. Most often the push button, right on the saddle here, this gets swapped out for like a momentary switch or something new from AutoZone or some other, you know, whatever. Headlight switch is still there. So now, let's move on to spark, and then we're gonna have problems with fuel because I just destroyed that gasket. Let's turn the valve on. Yeah, she's empty. So we got a ballast resistor up there, and that runs to here, off the coil, right here, and that goes to the ballast resistor. So let's take a look. I'm positive we're gonna have to file these points. That's just the way she goes. That doesn't look that bad. Okay. This might have been a maintained little unit. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, sulfur. See all this sulfur? It's hard to see, but it's this like white powder. That's what happens when they sit for years. They just attract the moisture, and unfortunately, that's what they look like. But thankfully, I got just the fix for that. It's my Leatherman. So I'm gonna pull out the file, sneak it between the two, and I gotta be a little careful here and just give it a light brushing. If we go too far or get too aggressive with it, what happens is we're changing the gap on that contact set there, so we'd have to adjust the points. And not that that's difficult, but it's easier just to do it enough to get spark and not go crazy and have to try to knock that standard screw loose and adjust everything. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'm also going to lubricate the distributor at the same time, and we'll see if we can get spark. I brought my Sparky bulb tool thing. We could plug. It is hot. My forearms is sweating. The behinds of my knees is sweating. Sasquatches ain't made for this weather. Nope. Yep. Okay, I'm gonna flip this cap up. Oh. 30 weight oil works better, but you can never go wrong with some coal. There we go. Now, get a file and run through here. Just gonna crank it open. Got to be very careful with the cam. Bumper. I don't know what the technical term is. The shaft here that's spinning has a cam on it. It's got lobes, and that's what actually flaps a piece of plastic typically and opens and closes the contact. Well, that little flapper, if you get a little rough in there, you can snap it right off. And then you're into a $20 set of points. So let's just take it easy. And already I can see a bunch of white material that we're cleaning off of there. And again, I don't want to go crazy here, just enough. And the same exact thing applies for cars, trucks, whatever. Come on now. Okay. That looks pretty good. I don't know what this wire does. I think that's his headlight, so we'll ignore that. Hopefully we have this running before we need any lightage. You know what I mean? The guy's got other things to do too. Boy, these sparkulators have been in here a long time. So now that a guy's got the points filed, we'll come around here. We're going to try to test that. And we got to turn the ignition system on. It actually has a key, believe it or not. And that looks like it's wired perfectly. I did work on this. That's just been confirmed. Now, we're going to watch closely in here. As I spin it over, we should see spark between these pads right here. Okay, if it's got spark. Oh yeah, it's sparking good. So filing the points worked. Now we'll put my spark tester, doesn't matter which one. They all need it. Look at those old champions. Wow. We'll throw this in line and put all of this back together just to make sure that the rotor and the cap is rotoring and capping, and that we're getting spark all the way to the sparkulator. We don't want to assume, because we have presumed spark there, that it's actually working. And then we might actually pull a couple plugs just to see how bad they are, because them puppies been in there a minute, I can tell you that. Got bit by something. Well, let's get this ignition system put back together and then we'll test it at the lightning hose there. What a beautiful day to be out here playing with tractors, and I know I'm blessed, and I just wanted to take a minute to say thank you to all you watching, whether you're new or old. If you're liking, subscribing, hanging out, we'll never take that for granted. I'll tell you that much. Okay, let's get this back on here. Okay, that side's on. That's on. Uh-oh. Which one's which? Okay, we'll get our 209 and see if that flashes. And if that flashes, then we're getting electrotricities all the way over to the sparkulator. All right, we'll plug this doodabber in. One end goes to the sparkulator, like that. One end goes here. Then we're gonna look for the light in there. Ignition on. No, we do not. See, and that's why we check it. That's why we're doing what we're doing. Let's make sure we don't have any issues with this guy. Too long of a boot. It's definitely connected. That's definitely connected. Key off, back on. No sparkles. Well, we're gonna have to do a little bit of troubleshooting. We ain't got the sparkles we need. Wow, this tire's about to go too. This is an old co-op as well. Allergy 1, 4, 6, 17 through 20. Okay. Well, verifying this. Pull this off again. See what's happening. Well, I verified once again, we got spark at the contact, or juice anyway. But interestingly enough, the firing order was wrong. So instead of 1, 2, 4, 3, it was not that, basically. So I'm gonna go through here, and I'm assuming this is number 1. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt that number 1 was right. Replug this up, and we'll try it again for spark. If that doesn't work, we're gonna pull this peep sight open over here, and we'll roll the engine over until we see the timing marks on the flywheel, and then we'll retime this engine. This is not loose. Well, the cap is, but the base isn't loose, so that's not the issue. But let me get these wires in the right order, and then we'll try for sparkles once again. It is hot, like I was saying. Moses sandals. Well, I still got no sparkles, which reminds me, I should shut that off. So let's open up this peephole here, and we'll put this top dead center. Ouch, that's a sharp one. Guy keeps his knife pretty good. Ouch, that's the second sharp one. Guy should move his knife blade opposite his standard blade. Okay, there we go. Flip this down. There. Oh, we're right at it. Look at that. Ha! So I got this lid flipped up, and it's kind of hard to see. There's this peg here, and then on the flywheel back there, there's a rudimentary mark that Bill stamped into that with a cigar hanging out of his mouth. And that means this is pretty close to top dead center, guy. So I just verified once again, you know, the firing order and how all this is set up. And it should be good, so we're going to test it once more, see what happens. So I have decided to adjust this points gap wider. And I do that by loosening it and twisting it that way. Make sure the key is off before you do this. I might get a pretty good jolt. You know what I mean? Okay, now we'll do key on. Hit the starter again. That might have been a little too far. Bring her back just a tickle. Okay. Key back on. There we go. Now we have consistent spark. So the points weren't adjusted right, and we had firing order was wrong. So someone monkeyed with this at some point, and I assume tried to get it running, of course, because it's a good tractor, and came up with the same conclusion: it ain't getting spark. So now we'll hook all this back up. See what we're getting. in our light bulb. Assuming our light bulb is good. I'm not getting anything. Let me change cylinders here. Might have to go test my light on a lawnmower or something. Nothing. And we're running our jump box dead. That's not good. Can't see nothing. Well, we're fighting sparkles. We are. We're fighting it. I wonder if I should just go try to find a battery. It's going to take quite a while, but let's run the side by side back to the shop. And let's get another jump box, another battery. Maybe I could find some lightning hoses or some plug-a-lators for this thing. Should have some on the shelf. I've got a few of these. And then come back. We got to get sparks or nothing's going to happen. You know what I mean? We're losing daylight. Oh, we got like 3 hours left. I got us back. I dug through my shelf. Got a pair of lightning hoses, and this is a tune-up kit from Tractor Supply. Might be from Massey Ferguson. Oh, that'll work. So we're gonna throw this in. We got something going on here. It's showing us sparks at the points, but that doesn't mean much. So let's just make sure and replace this stuff. Should have. There we go. That's 180. Okay, I'm also going to pull the number 1 sparkulator out because as I'm rolling this now, I'm seeing a bunch of other smash marks. And I want to be sure that we're on TDC. Whoops, that's a file, not a knife. So we'll pull the sparkulator out. What we'll do is put our finger in the plug hole and verify we have compression, and then we know it's TDC, and then we'll make sure to recognize what mark we have on the flywheel here for future reference. This little cheapy kit came with new sparkulators too, so I guess we can throw those in once we confirm spark. Oh. Oh, wow. Okay. Right there. There's no mark. Why is there no mark? I don't know. I was asking you. Well, I thought you would know, and that's why I was asking the question. That's number 1 up top there. Let's go ahead and replace points, condenser. Got them both. This tire is about 714 degrees. I thought it was smelling grilled salmon, but it turns out it's just my pecs. I don't know if that's what middle-aged men call them. Chesticles. There we go. That's better. Okay. Never see that again. Oh, this just turned into a really long job. Great. I dropped one of the screws to the points here. I'll never find that again. So that'll lead us back to the house once again. Oh yeah, those are pretty shot. Pretty shot. Well, as luck would go on ahead and have it, I actually found that screw and adjusted the points. Now, lightning. Okay, let's get the new cap on, rotor, and lightning hoses, and that'll be our Tractor Supply tune-up. Okay, are these similar? Similar-esque, we'll say. Sure. Okay. The line slot. Throw that bad boy on. This has a notch on it. That's going to give us the orientation, which is right there. Okay, now we got sparkulators. Get all of them set up there. What do we got? This juice? We got juice. Okay, well, let's use some. I know. You probably can't believe what you're saying, but I really like tractors. So let's treat on them. Just a little bit. We don't got to do a lot. Okay? And then should we go ahead and get the rest of these sparkulators out? Well, let's make sure this rinky-dink tune-up kit has the right ones. That's a good idea. Yep. Okay. Let's do that. Well, if this thing runs halfway decent, we're gonna have her made, because that means I don't have to load another tractor over here and spend all the time switching the woods over to another tractor. Yeah, it takes a little finagling, okay? Plus, I'm lazy. What was that? Hornet or something? Richard Lenelon. Perfect. What are the chances that this old TSX works? Next to none, you said? Correct. New sparkometers going in. There we go. Come on now. There we go. And there. I just realized I grabbed my cleaner and degreaser and not lubricant. They're the same orange can. I wonder if I got something else on the side by side. Probably not. Okay. There we go. Sparkulators. Shortest, definitely be this guy. 1. Okay, that's pretty good. I think we're off to a bang here. That's pretty good. Her back feels hotter than Sarah Evans in the 90s. We'll ignore that. 4. Look at this guy. This is the one we'll plug into our spark tester. Can a guy get the coil wire off? He could. Can't even see him there. Oh, come on, Meow. That's not fitting good. This one's got a better, it's pretty chopped up though. Let's see. I put a slit on this. That way the boot expands over the coil. I'm just going to take the whole thing off. I don't like the way it's fitting on there. And it ain't going to seat. We really need it to seat. You know, to sit. To get in there. So, we'll run that back like that. There we go. Bring this around. There. Well, she's all throwed back together with a cheapy tune-up kit. Now we're going to be looking for light in here. And it may be very hard to see. But that bulb should slightly flash. Yep. I could see it. I don't know if you guys can. It's pretty dull. So we got sparkles. It's rotating. Sounds like it has compression. We got sparkles. Let's swap this battery out. I did find another one. And then we'll figure out fuel. Finally see if this thing will make some noise. After years. Okay, we got a Bungelizer 4000. That's pretty approved. Let's move that out of the way. I'll reuse that, of course. Get out of here! Okay. Super start! It's got a go handle. I don't know what the actual jingle is. Yep. Oh, we got burnage. Oh, missed 3 gears. You'll get her eventually. Okay, let's see. Slide. Okay, that's hot. Where do they hook this? Down here? Yeah, that seems pretty secure. Doesn't really seem to give us much more go. Ouch. Ouch. We got bad cableage. We'll ignore that for now. Let's just pretend that we didn't see it smoking and burning my hand. Okay? Yeah. I knew there was a reason I liked you. Okay, fuel. Let's, well, we can either just dump some sauce in here and hope, or we got to take that fuel, make it happener off, and just rebuild it. Chances the needle are stuck are about 87.236%. Yeah, just dump fuel in it then? Okay, good idea. I'll go get some. These fuel make it happeners are so primitive that it's actually pretty rare you got to dig into them on all old tractors. You know, like the very pre and post-war stuff. They were just so simple, you know, unless you had a lot of varnish, but typically the fuels back then didn't have ethanol or anything like that that would gum them up, unless it's sediment. And I didn't see a lot of sediment in the bowl we took off. It was just varnished. So I don't know. We'll dump some fuel in here. We can flush it by just opening the petcock with the bowl off. Let some fuel flow. See what that's looking like, and that we got a steady stream, because this is a gravity-fed updraft carb. So gravity feeds the fuel down to the carb, vacuum pulls the fuel and air up into the engine. There is no pump. I see a little leak. That's good news. We'll keep going. I got about 10 gallons on the rig here. Whew. So we'll put all of that in. So when the tank is full of rust, we got to dump all of it back out. Okay, good plan. Already dripping. That's a good sign. We'll pretend we didn't see it. This is not the original fuel cap because it's not kerosene or diesel. But nonetheless, went ahead and filled this to really force our hand. You know what I mean? I do have another bowl assembly on the shelf, but that would be a mess now. This one's already leaking, unfortunately. But let's test it. Oh yeah. It's pretty good. We don't want too much of a grass fire, so I'll stop there. But now we got to try to put this bowl back, which the gasket is really not very gaskety anymore. And essentially this is the fuel filter if you're not familiar with old tractors. As the liquid flows across, the heavy sediment falls to the bottom, kind of like gold in an old creek. If it's heavy or turning a corner like this is here, it's gonna fall. There's fresh fuel, and it is leaking severely bad. I was worried about that. Yep. Oofta. That's gonna be an issue. 78 hours later, back from the house. This is actually to an International, but they're fairly interchangeable. If you look at this, the bowls are virtually the same. I mean, a lot of companies back then were just stealing ideas, slightly changing it, like, let's put a twist knob on it instead of a turny doodabber knob like that. Boom. It was their product. So now I can take this gasket, and I'm just gonna take my Leatherman and dig up through here, try to clean this up as much as I can, because there's some old material and stuff in there. And then we'll try to see if that seals. This will have to get replaced later than sooner. But we got so much fresh fuel in it now that we're just gonna ignore it. I really do gotta try to get this brush hogging done. I got today to do it, and I'm back on the road again, so fingers crossed. Okay, gasket going in, new bowl. That matches said gasket. Tightening. Okay, fuel on. Come on, don't leak, don't leak, don't leak. It's dripping, but I don't think enough to start a fire. There we go. There's only a lot of rust floating in there and other stuff. Perfect. Let's go to the other side, see what the fuel making happen are saying. Probably pouring on the ground. Perfect. Just what we need. So as expected, she's just dumping out of this thing. These are needles. Not needling. And it's overflowing, and actually, see, it's just dumping out of the back. So we got to take the carb apart. Boy, this thing's been sitting a very, very long time then. Normally they're more forgiving than that. But we'll knock this off. Basically, we've got fuel line fitting here, these two 1/2-inch nuts, and then we've got the governor and throttle, or choke, and that should pop off. And then the gasket is where it's going to be dicey. I don't know that I got another one of them. I might have a whole remand, but I'd rather just use what we can. Pop that needle loose, clean it out a little bit, throw it back on, and hopefully we should be good. Start with the most prone to strip, the fuel line. Yeah, this thing doesn't even have thread on it anymore. It's been off 714 times. Okay. Good old plier got it. Half inch. Just gotta hope these gaskets stay gaskety. I think Tractor Supply might actually have a rebuild kit, but it's probably questionable when they're in stock. Well, that freed up pretty easy. Not going to make any adjustments to this until we run it. Let's see what's going on. Okay. She's off and flooded. Crack this thing open. Hope that this top gasket stays here. I think I brought a couple cans of carb cleaner. Oh, it came right off. Nice. It's not stuck anymore. It's pretty clean, actually. The old horse hoof. See that shape? Needle is pinned to the floats. That seems to be separated. I'll get some juice and force some fluid through the jet. And the fuel inlet here. Come on. And then I'll hold the floats up. Try that again. They are closing. See how fuel didn't flow? Juice that up good. Wow, this is hot. It's under a lot of pressure. Okay. Yep. Looking good. Rebuilding. So now that a guy's got a brand new needle seat and gaskets in here. Nope. Let's go ahead and mount this back up and see if it'll flow fuel when we want it to and shut it down when we need it to. Okay? Okay. Bring this just in case. I'm gonna back feed this line just to tickle and make sure that's flushed out. Yep. Ooh, there's those cuts again. Hello, darling. Nice to see you. It's been a long time. You're just as stingy as you used to be. Okay. Lost my mind. Check. Carb install. Commence. All right. Before I go crazy tightening anything, I like to do the fuel line just so you have a little waller and also your throttle and choke, because again you might want to wobble it around just a tickle to get these lined up. Okay, those are connected. Get this started. See what I mean there? I needed that little wobble on this nut to get her to bite. Had I had her tightened up, I wouldn't have had that. I would have had to go to the line and bend the line up to get that same effect. Wrenches are 7,000 degrees. Ooh, Swiss steak and mashed potatoes sound good. Maybe some cheesy green beans, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. That's tight. No leaks right now, anyway. And the fuel is on. And it's flowing. So technically, should have fuel. Go ahead and pretend that we hook that up. Something like that. Well, we should be able to see if this thing fires. We know we got spark. We know we got fuel. Key on. Just a bump of throttle. Most take just a scoosh of choke, but I don't know. Let's just try it without. It's super hot out. See what happens. The battery doesn't have a good connection. That's what happened. See what happens again. Same thing. Wow. It fired. More throttle. Try the choke. Come on. Yes! Yes! Oil pressure's building. 10, 20. It's running like a sewing machine. I love these old tractors. Oh, it sounds great. Wow. Oh, there's spiders and bugs running everywhere. That's crazy. I mean, I expected it. You can't keep these things down, but that's pretty amazing. Got 40 pounds of oil pressure now. I gotta get some ice cube juice stat. Good old girl. See if it restarts. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna go get some ice cube juice and something to wet my back, neck. It is hot. Probably a grease gun. And I think what we might try to do is pull this thing out of this barn, spin it around, pull it in, and maybe change on the Earl, grease everything up, and then let's just put this thing to work. I mean, if we're gonna see if it overheats, she's gotta be working. Plus, we're losing daylight. And we, speaking of work, have a lot of it to do. Let's fire it up again. All right, let's see. Oh, this is water. It's good. Oh, it's got a little antifreeze in it. Get enough in here to see if it overheats or not. If the radiator hoses leak, the water pump's pumping. If we get any milkshake, and then we'll try to spin it around in the barn here. Oh, that's full. Should pay more attention, I guess. And then a guy can lay on his backside and change the oil. Try to get that thermostat to open. Well, seems to be doing okay. Let's go ahead and see if I can crawl it out of this barn for the first time in many, many years. Rear tires are in the earth. We'll throw her in low first and See if we can crawl it out of here. Hopefully the clutch works. That's up all the way. We're out. Coming back around. Not a big rock. Oh, this mower's way too heavy for this tractor. Man, we're just dragging the front tires. I'm having to steer with the brakes. Why did it shut off? Oh, the ignition is that touchy. PTO works. 3-point works. Shut her down. Put her in gear. See how that, oh, it does have a breakaway. Well, that's good. Okay. Well, we moved it. That's great news. Downside. Way too big of a mower for this here tractor. And it won't steer, it just pushes the front. The back is swiveling free, as you can see, but it's too much. Tried to brake steer it, still didn't want to go. So that's gonna be interesting because there's several ponds, some hills around here we're gonna have to dance around, but we'll worry about that in a minute. Let's go ahead and change the oil on this thing. Who knows when the last time that was done. We'll go through some grease fittings, and then we'll throttle this thing wide open, see if we can hack down some weeds, brush. Yeah. Well, the guy's got a drain pan under here, you know, the huge. Let's see if I can crack this, or if it's gonna be ultra stubborn. Ultra stubborn it is. This is why I wanted to do it in the dirt. It is all in now. There's not a little bit at a time. Did pretty good actually. Okay. Screen looks fine. Throw this back up in here. As far as Earl goes, the guy's just using whatever I had on the shelf. What's this one? Break-in oil from Comp, 1030, sure. That's from the Ford 300 build. A little bit left. Okay. Then, oh yeah, Tella heavy duty diesel oil, 1540. Sure. Whoop, whoop. That'll work pretty good. Don't see any coolant leaks yet. It's pretty incredible. And then the rest of these are VR1 2050, which is great. I want to use a heavier oil, 50 weight. And this also has a bunch of zinc, stuff like that in it. You don't have to add the additives or any of that nonsense. And then, grab the grease gun, find some greasable joints here. Maintenance this thing a little bit. Pretend we looked at the air cleaner, and then we'll see how many acres we can get down before sunset. Okay, oil change done. And we'll walk around the machine and try to add a little bit of grease here and there. Who knows the last time that was done. Should be one on the PTO, and the U-joints. Oh, one right here on the tail wheel. That's never been greased. Good. See if I can back this thing out of here now. Come on. Okay. Tires have air in them. I think all of them. All right, let's throttle it up. PTO in. Maybe. There we go. Well, first impressions, not too shabby. Tractor's running great, it's not overheating yet. Drips a little bit of fuel. Not worried about that. The Woods brush hog is doing fantastic, although be it way too big for this 8N. It's still doing its thing. I'm gonna keep going. I'm looking at acres here. Let's see what we can get done before the sun goes down. See how many rocks and trees we can hit, and what else we could find. Maybe a well, or a septic, or a cave. Let's hope not. Well, the old machines are doing the thing. It is slow going. The Ferguson 3-point there, the 3-point system on the Ford, is bleeding off pretty bad. So I can't keep the woods at a consistent height, and it wants to nosedive and bog out. Then you got to back up and run the 3-point up with the PTO and kind of take off again. So it's slow going. You got to reset, but I'll probably get the hang of it. Again, a little big for the 8N there, but you can't beat this old equipment. Look how, I mean, how many decades old is this? Still out here working. The tractor runs great other than needing some seals here and there. The woods machine, got super lucky on that. Seems to cut pretty good. I'll have to take that apart and see how it's flailing. Maybe we'll do some work on that down the road, but the 8N does in fact run and operate. I'm gonna keep at it. We got lots to go. I gotta get around these ponds, do some other stuff, but that's gonna do it for this episode. Thank you guys for watching so very much, and hey, we'll see you very, very soon. If you haven't, consider hitting that subscribe button. It's free and easy, and you get notifications when new content pops up. All right, see you guys soon.